Limited. He worked with global IT multinationals, which are dream companies for our students. He has worked with Microsoft, IBM, and many more companies. Primarily, he focused on providing digital specialist skills like program management, test management, etc. Currently, he is providing independent consultancy services in countries like UK for fintech and public sector domain. On behalf of Government College of Engineering Karad and Walchand College of Engineering Sangli, I wholeheartedly welcome you, Atul, for this workshop.
Thank you.
Also, we have another speaker with us, Mr. Rahul Chivate.
Hello, namaste.
I am very happy to introduce to my friend Rahul Chivate. He has completed his BTech and MTech in mechanical engineering from VJTI Mumbai. He has worked with various Indian and American IT multinational companies like Tata Consultancy Services, Ford, etc. He has rich experience more than 20 years. Currently, he is working as a director, CTR Technology Solution, Pune. We are grateful to you for accepting our request for conducting one session in our workshop, Digital Transformation and Pedagogies. I again welcome you, both Rahul and Atul, to this workshop.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. I hand over this to...
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Muik sir. It is pleasure to connect back with the organizations from where we grew. Both of us are coming from the same Sangli district or from the Islampur, and I see a lot of people are from those areas. So it was a pleasure to connect with you all. Topic for us really is website development tools under your workshop for digital transformation and pedagogies. So there, I'll quickly walk you through the agenda. And right now, I think Dr. Muik sir has already introduced to us. Then we'll kind of quickly go through. I think you might have seen what is learning management system over the quite a few sessions that you have had over there. But what I'm trying to put perspective around is how website is the key fulcrum around LMS or any kind of online learning technologies. Then we can have a little bit deep dive into website, what it is. Then we'll kind of go through the process of how to build a good website. And then a little bit of wider perspective around types of websites, programming language that you use for web development, some popular website development tools, and then the really demo around how to create a website using, I think, quite a few popular tools, WordPress and GoogleSite. I think I'll go through the overall deep dive until slides 7 to 8, and then Rahul will walk you through the demos and the actual details of those particular websites over there. And I think we will have good enough time towards the end of session to really answer any of your questions. So I think at the end they'll open up for Q&A. You are welcome to ask us questions. We'll try and do best to answer those questions in this session only. For any reason, if we are not able to answer a particular question, we probably come back to you via the event organizers and they provide that particular answer over there. So I'll just quickly start now. So I kind of seen your agenda of the workshops, and I think quite a few presenters has gone through learning management system, right? This is kind of a classic name that is coming in the world of information technology about learning management system. Name itself speaks for what it offers, right? It's all about for learning and then how you manage that learning system so over there. Now, people might have gone through when you talk about a classic learning management system, you can have various different type of offerings. What I'm taking here is a quick stab of what a classic or learning management system can provide capability. I mean, typically you might have, first and foremost, you need to have student registrations or learner registrations, so you know who are the person who wants to consume that particular learning or content. Once you have registration, you need to have a way of interaction with them. So for that, you can have various different modes of communication. It can be emails, notifications. There could be another things like pop-up notifications using various smart devices. Once you know who are your students, how you can communicate with them, then you have different kind of courses and schedules you can provide. Now you have those as well, so then you'll try and deliver those courses. And it's not about just one way. You would like to have some kind of assessment done within those as well. Once you do those assessments, you would like to record that particular progress and track assessments over there, right? And then provide that feedback back to the learners over there. And likewise, I think the other way around, you can also receive feedback on the delivery course content and those things. So that kind of done from even a model called content management. So that's classic LMS that we think over there. Now, how this particular capability gets delivered to the end user or a student. And that's where I think this particular, what I see is www, it's about, in LMS or online learning, it gets delivered via a website. Now, website is not the only technology that delivers it, but it's one of the more core to everything what we deliver. And this is a one-stop technology application or capability that can deliver these offerings, like students and all those capabilities, to various different forms of digital devices. So on the right side, you can see the smartphones, tablets, and a classic laptops or the personal computers, right? So when you if you develop a website, which is like smartly designed and developed, which can address the needs on these three different outputs over there. And that's how a website becomes very, very core and fundamental to all LMS or new ways of online learning. Even though I think website as a technology, as an offering is very ancient in today's world, but I think that still keeps its relevance over there. So I just thought of putting that particular context so that why website is important in this particular context, right? So I think I'll just now go a little bit deep into website and what it is. So, I mean, just to get very basics of it, what is website? It is in a very basic sense, it is a collection of web pages. So you can have various different web pages, and it gets tagged to one particular website over there. Now, what do you mean by web pages? Now, if you have seen any email application, then first of all, you see where you can put your username, password, then you click it, then you go inside, and then you can see your inbox, you can read mails, and then again, if you want to create a new mail, then again, you click on that one particular button, and then you go on to the creating an email. In a technological aspect, these all are different pages over there. Right, but they're collected and put it to a particular common name or a common domain name. Let's say www.hotmail.com or gmail.com, right? Underneath, you will find those pages has been tagged over there. And these pages or the website can also have hyperlinks to another websites over there. We classically know the concept of web portals, where you can go from one application to another application. So Google is again a classic example. You go to the www.google.com, you will find a white page with the address bar, but on the right hand side, you can create your user account, and you can get access to other portals like Gmail, YouTube, Google Sites. There are multiple offerings over there. So that's how I think if you see website is a collection of web pages, yes, commonly identified from a domain name over there, right? So when you say website, now what are different categories of websites? So in a very basic state, you can have websites which are of static nature, and we can have websites of dynamic nature. I'm just providing some examples here. Static site. So if you see this site, dailynewspick.com. Now, some of the sites, their nature and the structure and the content is more and less stable, right? Within the content, some of the details might change, but the way the content appears on that particular site remains fairly static. These websites are typically designed with the view of promotion, providing the information to the wider audience. The interaction with the website or a particular user is just like one way, where the user of that particular website will consume the content that has been published on that particular site. Whereas dynamic websites, I mean, I just give one example like Netflix, but there can be another better examples on it. In a dynamic website, as its name says, the content and the structure can keep changing over there. And this is based on the needs of that particular site and the business. Another better example would be newspapers, where every day the news keeps changing. Sometimes news may have a static textual content. Sometimes the news may have videos. Sometimes news may have references to the other social media applications like Twitter, WhatsApp, and anything. That's where I say website can contain hyperlink to any other websites or applications over there. So that's how typically websites get categorized. Now we'll see what different types of websites are there, right? Again, very broad category. There could be many of these, but just to understand, there are intranet type of sites and extranet type of sites. So, and name itself is a self-explanatory. Intranet is within closed domain. I'm sure most of the viewers on this particular program, they belong to the organizations or the college institutes. They may have their internal, very close-knit intranet sites where the sites are typically on invitation, where you register, and the user is kind of well authenticated and identified user over there. These websites are not available on public domain, even though they might be accessible on internet, but you have to have specific virtual private network to get into those particular sites over there. Now, what type of these sites are? These sites are mainly provide capability for your, let's say, managing your own office presence, your leaves, your personal records, or any other things, as well as some kind of internal messaging that comes out, happenings over there, emails within that particular institutes over there, right? So there you know the user, you know what kind of content that you are trying to provide, and it is very, very exclusive to that particular organization. Okay. Extranets are like the internet sites, but these are mainly for wider institutes over there. So let's say a particular organization organization has multiple colleges or the various different locations. So they can have sites for particular locations, and they can have a group-wide site over there, right? Again, the user is not a public user. The user is who belongs to that particular site, which can be a staff, employee, or there might be some associates who are not staffs or employees, but they are the suppliers into that particular site. So let's say as your college organizations, you kind of have other external training providers or consultants come and work with you for a particular delivery of a subject or content or presentations. You can invite them to this particular external sites and have very secluded access to the specific material or content to them. That's how I think it gets differentiated between intranet and extranet sites over there. I think we'll now dwell into few examples around the purpose of specific purpose websites. So there could be many, but I just thought of picking up quite a few just to differentiate how you can still differentiate between the websites over there. So classic example, personal website. People who have like a very mass presence, they address to the wider community. They can create their own website and then really use them as a sounding board for anything and anything what they do it. I kind of referred one particular site for our the former president of India, Pranab Mukherjee, .nic.in. If you go onto that particular site, you will see the activities done by that particular person, maybe past references, maybe future schedules, anything over there. Again, most of the times, people who are working at that particular community level, national level, international level, or within a particular targeted sectors, they can have this kind of sites, or they create those kind of sites. In our context, people who are learned professors, they can also go ahead and create those kind of sites, but they can add this to the wider segment on a personal context with them. Corporate sites, I'm sure it's no guesses here. Any company that is in existence, they would like to have their showcasing via their corporate sites, which can talk about. There are some statutory information that has to come out, the directors, board, some meeting minutes, some kind of their performances, as well as any other communication that they want to address over there. You have government sites. So I have addressed our Indian government site, india.go.in. I'm sure you might have used in thick and thin. Now, this is not just website, it's a web portal. If you go to this particular site, from there, you will get another like 20, 30, or hundreds of websites that you can jump from there. That's where again it comes back to website can contain hyperlink to any other website over there. So government now, most of the times people are trying to do paperless, always on demand kind of offerings. Government uses those kind of things using websites. And classic e-commerce, I'm sure most of us might have used it during this challenging COVID situation. Sites which are catered or designed to really provide, conduct commerce activities over there. So these are the few ones, but there can be n number of various different purpose-based examples that we can find over there, right? So that's in a nutshell. If you see a website, again, the more we talk, I think we kind of start getting the feel of how critical it is in today's times, how critical is this particular technology, which touches everybody's life day in, day out over there. So I think now, having said the context around website, what it is, purpose, different types of website, I think I would like us to dwell into a little bit more deeper into what goes into like building a typical good website. Okay, so I'll walk you through a brief process journey, which can give you more understanding around if you want to embark on defining or designing or creating website for your professional purpose or personal purpose or for hobby. Some of those I think process can help you in identifying the better requirements of your particular website. So practical guide to build a website. As we all know, for any good project, better preparation can ensure a good success around it, right? So that's where I think the preparatory steps. What are those ones? I think first one is perform a needs analysis, then specify goals and objectives. Now, on a prima facie, needs, goals, and objective can sound similar or very abstract and dry. So let me put perspective on that one. Needs analysis is like, only for whatever we want to do, there is always some underlying need for there. Now, in our context, the need could be, we want to open up the particular subject or content or the delivery to the students which are in a remote areas. They might not have easy travel access or normal access to come to particular premier institutes or work with the professors or the tutors over there, right? So tapping those not connected students would be need over there. Now, specify goals. Goals could be either they can have access to on-demand kind of course content. They can have assessments done for that one. They can have access to new and upcoming courses. That can be the goal. And objectives are wide-ranging. You might want to penetrate particular subjects' interest into wider community. That can be objective of that. Once you know what are your needs, goals, objectives, probably, and then when we are talking about website, as I keep repeating, it is a very technical outfit or offerings, right? So you need to determine your technical resources and needs. Now, these needs are different than the first ones. So these are in the context of technology. So what I mean by technical resources, it could be, now here we are talking about content, and content is being shared and made available over the internet to the wider communities. So technically it is how to create that particular content, from where this content will be sourced, right? Once we know how to create or source that content, how to store that content, where to store that content, right? What kind of size and capacity we will need based on your target reach out. Or if you're trying to reach out to not many, few hundreds of students, right? Your size and need and storage might be quite limited. But if you're trying to reach out to the millions of students, then I think the scale of the technical resources will kind of expands quite a lot. So I think those things you have to put into perspective of there. Now you know the needs, you know your technical resources and the needs so that then you would like to evaluate what or who can offer me and then satisfy those needs, right? Again, we're talking about software here. So evaluate your open source or commercial software and use it if it fully meets your needs over there. Now, in old days, you will always have commercial software. So you have to either buy a trial version of it or you want to buy a particular license. You pay money and then you get the software to use it. I think IT industry has gone, and like everywhere, there's disruptions happening. There is disruptions happening or keep happening in IT industry. Nowadays, you will find the like-minded people, software developers, IT engineers coming together and building software in a free mode for the wider community. So some of or many of those softwares are available open source to use for your purposes, and many of the softwares have equally compelling or more interesting capabilities than a classic commercial software. So you identify those what you want to use it. Quite a few of the details Rahul will walk you through when he is kind of demoing the websites for that. And the last but not the least, and which is most critical, is secure commitment from all stakeholders and identify and address the potential barriers to the implementation. No brainer here. I think we might have seen these particular issues or the challenges. Now here, let me put perspective on what do we mean by stakeholders. A stakeholder is somebody who wants to really sponsor, fund this particular activity, maybe in terms of time, money, any other support. A stakeholder would be who would like to build the website. The stakeholder could be a particular a professor for that particular content, or the group of students, or people who would like to really provide that capability. And stakeholders are also the students who are going to consume that particular content. Because at the end of the day, whoever gets touched with this particular activity is typically called stakeholder over there. So while you are doing the preparations, it is very important to really identify some like-minded students or the content consumers, understand and get those needs from them as well. So that will give us the good foundation in terms of building website for that, right? So once you have all those good things mentioned, then probably we can move on to the development phase of the activity, where develop content in close coordination with the website design. Again, if you go back to the previous slides where you can have a static website, a dynamic website, intranet, extranet, or purpose sites. So then that will, those types can drive what kind of website design you should have, right? And once you know that type of design, type of website, then you can develop content in that particular context over there. Second one is, right, while you're designing, encourage the active learning, self-assessment, and self-directed learning. as well as problem-based learning and interaction over there. Also try and see whether you can collect the feedback. So it's again having that close-knit connection with the stakeholders, what I mentioned. So one of the stakeholders is the content consumer, so which can help you in terms of development. Facilitate and plan to encourage use by the learner. Again, anything that we want to do is to see all those designs are done based on the learner's consumption of the content. Okay. Also develop a site which can have capabilities to evaluate both learners as well as the course. So the assessment should not be on one way, it should be on both ways, because the success of that website in our context would be how good and relevant is that particular content as time passes. So we should have that particular evaluation going around that. Once you have gone past that development process, probably implementation and maintenance. So pilot the website before full implementation. Once you have kind of website ready, we kind of get into that mindset of, okay, let's go live. Let's see how it looks like, how community uses it. Probably we can preempt that particular temptation and say that we can do the pilot phases of that particular implementation, so that we can iron out any issues, we can iron out any deficiencies in it, and it can have a sound footing when it actually goes live. Once you implement, then plan to monitor online communication. A lot of these websites now in today's world have interaction. We can provide that communication mechanism, either directly collecting feedback or via social media interactions, right? So try to get that particular communication, always be responsive to that one. There is one part of it. Second one is monitor your traffic, how well it has been used. Are there any things that you have to do from a technical perspective as well? The third one is around maintain the site by resolving technical problems, periodically verifying the hyperlinks. Now, once you implement sites, there might be quite a few issues might come down the line in terms of availability, responsiveness. Sometimes when we refer to the external content, let's say you are referring one particular YouTube video from somebody else, and that particular gentleman or person takes down that video, so the link link will be broken link. So whenever somebody comes onto your site and try to click that link and nothing happens, person can get upset, right? And that's when you start disconnecting with that particular user. So always you have to do this periodical check in terms of what's happening on site. Is the content relevant? All the links are working or not for that. And last but not the least is regularly update the content, because if the content becomes stale, you will lose the learner or the user of that particular site. And final piece, which is continuous improvement. It is relevant to everything, not just website. Is keep in touch with the technological advancement. What I mean by technology advancement, so as I mentioned, a website can be consumed on various different digital devices, tablets, smartphones, and let's say laptops, right? What if tomorrow virtual reality becomes the normal way of delivering content? So you might want to have capability coming on to that one. There could be another way of adding multiple things over there. So you always see IT, information technology domain is ever evolving. So a lot of new capabilities are coming into these particular tools. So always we have to keep in touch with that and see what best we have to really use it in our websites over there. So for that, you probably have to prepare the roadmap for planning these improvements and adapt as needed. Not every single new technological advancement is relevant to us. We can adapt as on the basis of needs that we have. So I think this is kind of a mindset or process I thought of sharing with you when it comes to building a good website over there. This is very critical because building a website technically is in today's world becomes quite easy as days goes by and the software tools evolves. But this particular process is what the individuals who are connected has to use in order to build the proper websites over there, right? Now, having, I think, understood about the technological domain and the process around that, we probably will now take a little bit higher view and provide few examples around what are different websites or most popular types of websites you have in the current domain. I'll just quickly go through. There are 11 that we mentioned, but there could be many. So, I mean, you might have seen quite a few popular blogs, people who write those blogs. They share some ideas. They encourage the discussions over there. You have business websites. Again, it is like a corporate websites that you might have seen it. Quite a few websites are dedicated to brochure kind of content over there, which kind of details particular companies' information, groups' information. There are sites which are doing crowdfunding. I'm sure we might have seen those ones. Crowdfunding is essentially has been opted quite successful, mostly into the areas where people would like to generate funds, interest, and stakeholder uptake over there. E-commerce, I think we talked about it. Educational sites, I think we all know. There are quite a few are coming up there. You have another media and entertainment sites, Netflix, as I mentioned, non-profit, personal portfolio, and portals. Portals, what we discuss about the government websites. So, about that. Just another perspective, I think it is thought that there are as many as 380 new websites are created every minute. So that's over 6 websites for every single second. I think that kind of uptake is there. In today's world, these numbers can keep changing, but this is one of the data that we found. Just trying to, yeah. So I think now Rahul will take us through the remainder of the presentation. I think he will talk about these languages, and then he will provide us a more detailed demo for this. Rahul?
Yeah. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Deshmukh sir, sorry, one request. I think you'll have to make me presenter. The reason is I
Yes, I will make
may
it.
not just share the slides. I might have to go to some website or the browser and share. So
you are now presenter, sir.
okay, just give me a minute. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you, Atul, for the quick and nice dive through practical guide and website building strategies. Let me.
तुझं नाव काय रे दादा?
I hope everyone is able to see my screen and the slide. So,
Yes, I can see your screen, but it is your view. I can see it. I know I don't see your presentation as a separate. I can have a next slide also. I can see it and both the things.
Okay.
Yeah. You just make it full screen. I think there is an option. There is a marker option, then screen option, then search option. Yes. Somewhere there you can find, you can make it entirely full screen.
I think the display setting on the top might change the view.
Yeah. Display setting only. Display setting, or you can just exit and slide show करताना कुठेतरी आपल्याला एक adjustment येते. तो एक single view येतो. That is what.
I think it's because of my no, it's because of my monitor.
नाही. इथं खालच्या बाजूला एक डिस्प्ले सेटिंगचा एक टास्क बार आहे बघा. त्याच्यात सगळ्यात शेवटचं. Yes, move to the right side. No, don't do anything. Move to the right side just. One more. नाही ते नाही त्या बाजूचा अजून एक.
Last one.
Yes, one. Oh, Sala. नाही इकडचं क्लिक करा बघू कॉम्प्युटरला स्क्रीनला कट केलेले काय बघा त्याच्यावर क्लिक करा इथं खालच्या लाईनला
हे का
येस त्याच्या बाजूचं लेफ्ट
येस तेच करा
4 विंडो लागते त्याच्यात झालं असणार
कशातून इकडचं का त्याच्या बाजूचं ते सर्चचं बटन आहे त्याच्या बाजूचं क्लिक करून बघा
I think I know. I think I'll have to stop.
Yes. Some setting is there. That's it.
Let me redo the presentation again. I'll stop sharing and redo it.
I think the display settings will swap the view, Rahul.
Wait.
On the top, you will see
तुझं नाव काय आहे दादा अमित
MUD
किती अवघड काम
कुठे
You want me to present for you then?
Okay. Are we good? Can you see the whole screen? Or you're still seeing?
yes, you can.
No, now it is good.
Okay. Yeah. I think somehow. The slide is not moving now. Yeah. So talking about the web development, these are the hardcore languages which are available, but this which needs a lot of expertise. Like for example, Java has been there for last 35 years. The Python is like a latest tool, and it's extremely easy to learn. Then there is a JavaScript. Again, it's a kind of front-end language used for creating developing website. Then if you talk about JavaScript, then you can have CSS, HTML, which go hand in hand with JavaScript. Then C++ and C, in fact, which is used to build Java programming language. Then we have PHP, which is an HTML embedded scripting language to form dynamic web pages. It's a great choice for both front-end and back-end developers. And the Ruby on Rails, it's kind of offers a full-stack development framework to build full program and web pages. And these are kind of used for very complex algorithms and complex website. Maybe build the tools for even content management systems. So I'm just going through this just as an, I don't think we'll be using this for our website development as far as individual website development concern. So next one, these are the ones actually which are relevant to us, the website development tool. Other, I would call them as content management system tools. And there are numerous such tools, and however, I just took to top 10 popular tools. The first one is WordPress. I think that is the highest. It has like almost 30-35% share in terms of number of websites across the world. And then we have Joomla, Drupal, Silver Stripe, Cake PHP, Modex, Concrete 5, PHP Fusion, and CMS Made Simple. And then there is a Google site. The Google site, I made a asterisk because Google site has its own, it's based on Google technologies. Whereas all this remaining, they are based on certain tools I mentioned in, are built using certain tools mentioned in my previous slide. So I won't be going through each and every of the tools because they have bit different flavor, but the way of the way they are used, it's the process. It's kind of almost similar, but they have in a different, in a sense, they provide different widgets and different kind of navigation while building this the website. Now, what are the steps to create a specific website? The first is obtain a good domain. So domain name is nothing but a website name or a web address, as we know. And it is kind of used to identify and the computers or the internet. So basically, if I draw an analogy with like land and building. So land building is a kind of website, content of the website, and address of the building is a website name or the URL or whatever web URL as we call it. Next step is purchase a secure, scalable website hosting with good tech. You might be seeing or advertise these days. I think MS Dhoni is kind of ambassador for that as a GoDaddy. It's a kind of hosting service provider. So drawing that analogy with the building and the address, the land is nothing but the hosting company. So basically, they provide you a hosting service or the land for your website. So there are so many like GoDaddy available, Amazon for that matter. They offer the hosting services. And you can connect your domain name to your hosting provider. So then whenever users visit your website address, then they are shown your website that you store on your hosting account. As Atul has covered, what are the strategies to implement the best content management? So this is where the website building tool or the CMS tool comes into picture, which, for example, WordPress, Drupal. A good CMS will help you maintain your site, and you don't need much technical knowledge to use it. Unlike whereas you use Java or similar tools, you need technical expertise and years of experience on those languages to build the tools. With CMS, it's easy to build and maintain the website. Then transfer your website or create a create a website from web host provider. Then you download your tool like WordPress and create website and build on your local machine. And then what you do is you transfer website to your the hosting provider. Typically, it's again FileZilla, which is like FTP. FTP is a file transfer protocol client, which can be used. These are again freewares, which can be used to transfer your contents of your website to the hosting company, and then you can publish your content on that hosting. The next step is the go live. It is typically like what you do is develop a content using the tool. You can test on your local, and then when you transfer to web host, what happens, there also you can test, you can have your users friends and families or test the website, and then you can publish, finally publish on the web host. These are the below are like, I'm just using WordPress, like I mentioned in my previous slides, that all the tools, they have similar way of working. Typically what you do is, so I have taken WordPress as an example. So the steps are, where you download the WordPress from, it's available free software from the WordPress website. You download and install on your computer. Then typically it comes with a database. So you kind of define the database there and the password for it, and install any other dependency like the plugins. Typically, I had viewed few of the previous sessions, and there was some mention about H5. So so those things, there will be plugins, something called plugins, which kind of plugins are nothing but which interacts, which can help interact with other tools or like H5 from WordPress. So install those plugins. Those are again available for free as a freeware. So then you configure and start. After you configure your installation, and it is pretty self-explanatory when you install. So it's no, it doesn't require very high level skill, or it's a kind of layman, any layman can do. Just follow the instruction while installing the tool. Once you install the configure, you are ready to create your blog or website. And then obviously once you're done with creating a website, adding the content to it, and you again like through FTP, you can migrate to the hosting server, and then you're ready to go live. So I'll just kind of walk through some of the steps. So you have to log in at the back end, and then there is a page section on the left sidebar. I'll try after this, I'll try to dwell through into actual demo session. Click on add new button, add the page. And after you do this, this is how it will look like. And on the left side, you will see this, all the tools and features available. And you can add as many pages as you want, and then you can define the relationship between the navigation between them through this. And then once you define, you can in the edit mode, you can start adding your content. There are a lot of options, plugins. It will be visible here, and you could be able to use follow those self-navigating steps here. As you see, like this is the editor, and this you added just simple content here. Once you add content, and then you have option to like preview and then the publish. So if you preview or publish, this is how the website, the page will look like. So I'll just kind of share my browser to kind of just show. Everyone able to see my browser, right? It's not like just PPT, correct?
I think you need to share the browser. It is not visible. It comes as a black window.
Oh, okay. Setting and then to now you are able to see.
Yes.
So this is what I'm using is I have not installed the local WordPress on my local machine. There are kind of for demo purpose there are available on website. This is opensource.cms.com. So these are like for demo purpose. What they do is you can play with and try to learn from here, and but they keep refreshing it. So every hour or like periodically. So whatever you do it here, it get wiped out. So I'm just using this for like a demo purpose. But what happens is as far as the tool look and feel goes, it will be something similar you will see on when you open the tool on your local machine. So so this is where like you can add, you can see what are the pages created by someone else, or so because it's kind of shared tool. So you can add new page here. And you just give the title. And then, as I mentioned here, this is what you'll keep creating a block. And as you see here, you will see, you can, that you will see what are the all most used paragraph, gallery, list, short code, button. Then there are other options like the common blocks. These are the common blocks. List, file, image. You can embed and include the video and the cover. And then you can do the formatting, the code. It's a code is for like embedding the code or the custom HTML. If you have a custom HTML code, you just use it and embed with your page. And then you can create tables, pre-formatted text. And these are the layout elements, buttons, columns. These can help you kind of design your layout to utilize the space on the page effectively. And there are some widgets like short code, categories, posts, RSS feeds, calendar. And then there are embed. So basically, as you see, you can embed your Twitter, YouTube from here. So any YouTube video you want to share, present, you can have a link to your live session for the YouTube from here. So if somebody clicks that link during the live session, so it will take you to the live session on YouTube. So these are all embeds, possible embeds available. So while talking about this is what I was talking about, the plugins. These are the already installed, but if you're on the your local machines, what happens is you have to install the plugins individually. And once you install, you should be able to view those plugins. These are the installed ones. If you add new, there will be, these are already available on this demo site. But these are kind of different plugins, health check, troubleshooting, etc. So there are lots of plugins available as free when you search Google search. So even for H5, you would have like so these once you install the plugin, you should be able to create the content using the plugin within the WordPress. So once you have, let's say, your page ready, then what you do is you can just preview it. You will see the content here. This is how your website content would look like. And then if you are satisfied with your the content or the design, then you can go for publishing. Whereas when you publish, what you have to do is after developing the page content, you have to transfer the files to hosting through that FileZilla or similar tool and publish it there. Whereas you locally also you can publish and for your testing purpose and test the page. Now I will move to the slide. Atul, you can see the slides again as it was, right?
No, I think you have to go back to the display settings and switch the view. Yeah, now you're good.
Okay. So this is how you will create the sample page using WordPress. So now I'll talk about this. As I mentioned, GoogleSite is one of the options. It is not same way as in terms of how it is. Well, it's Google Ads. It's so basically you while using GoogleSite, you would be using most of the Google's technologies. But there are obviously the plugins available for the same. So with talking about GoogleSite, it's kind of you would just need a standard Google account, and you can make as many Google site as you want for free. And it uses basically your Google Drive account and to store the images and file, whatever the content you create or share on your site. Obviously it is free until you use up 15 GB of your the size. So if you need more, obviously you need to pay and for extra space to Google and get it. But the way I look at it, if somebody like individual, say professor, is creating a content website for his own subjects, what he is teaching. So I think this would be a very good tool, and he can individually control it and what he content of it. So you don't need, you can reutilize the space. You can remove and add the content as you wish and whenever you wish. And it also has rich collection of templates. It's easy to use. You just use the templates. Templates include personal, work, and education type of site. Do you have time or the demo site or?
Yeah, I think we have another 30 minutes.
Okay.
We can wrap up the slides and then open up for Q&A.
Okay. No, I need to again switch to.
Yeah, the Google Site demo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, should be fine.
Again, you're not able to see the browser, right? I think I had to reshare, correct?
Yeah.
You can see, right? Now the browser.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is where you go to Google Drive and or you can go to sites.google.com, and here also you will get option as you see Google Sites. And this is where it just starts here. Basically, you just enter the site name. You can start creating a page. These are the tools you have, the plugins. You have the text box, images, embed, the Google Drive, whatever you have content on a Google Drive, you can. This is you can start creating a page, or you can duplicate. Let's say you have built a page and now you want to reuse most of it but modify to some extent. So you can create a duplicate page and then modify it and then publish it as your new page. You can add sub page within here. So Google Site, I think it's relatively new. It's not yet being used as extensively as WordPress. I'm pretty sure it will gain popularity soon. So these are the standard themes you can have as ready themes available to you. Once you build, there is a preview and publish option. I won't start the new page, but I can demo the one which are already developed. And this was developed by like 12-year-old boy, relatively new to Google Site, and it is developed like within less than 2 hours. So this is so this is a designer mode. This is the preview mode basically. So here you'll see this YouTube video embedded in it. All you just need is you click the YouTube or embed and just copy paste your YouTube URL to your video, and it will be on your page. Then there is a subscribe button. It will take you to YouTube and offer you to subscribe. So these are, as I said, these are the tools, different, these are the individual pages, so you can embed. Just for the sake of demo, we have embedded like a PDF here. So only requirement in this case is you cannot embed it from your local. You'll have this content has to be on your Google Drive. So you can embed Google Doc or PDF or any other sheet. You can use other tools to create the document, but it has to be on Google Drive. For the demo purpose, this is how I just created a course menu, and then within this you can have sub menus. So you can have this subject and then click on those individual pages, and you can click, you can create content specific to that subject, and then there is you can easily incorporate the search option here. But the only thing is search option is not available in preview mode. The search option, if you publish, then the search option will be enabled. So you cannot do test the search option in preview mode.
Rahul, can I interrupt? And then if you can show this tree in a preview mode, you can show how the site looks into tablet, smartphone, and those devices. I think that is important to demonstrate.
Yeah, that's a good point. With this, as you see here, when you're previewing, you would know this is the kind of large screen or desktop or laptop screen mode. This is how it look like. Let's say just quickly you can check how your website will look like on different devices. If you look at tablet, this is how it would look like. If you look at the phone, this is how it would look like. So it's very, and then you can do some adjustment according to if there is an issue with look and feel with specific to device. Then you can do some adjustment in the layout and publish it. Thanks, Atul.
No,
Yeah, I think with this, I done with the GoogleSite demo. I'll switch to slides. I think Atul, the next probably you have you can take it from here for the next two slides and conclude. I think
okay.
You can share. I'll stop sharing.
Sure. So I need to be made presenter. If somebody can make me a presenter.
I think.
Hello, Suhas. Suhas. Hello.
I think he's on mute.
Just hold, sir. Hold, please.
Okay. Otherwise, Atul, I can just share the slide and you can talk.
Yeah, that's fine. You can do that.
Okay, good. We'll save time.
If the same proposal presentation is there, you can.
Yeah. It's the same. Basically, we are sharing the same file.
Okay, sir. Please.
Atul, you're good.
Next slide, please.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Rahul, for this walkthrough of websites. I know we have limited time, so you had like a very difficult choice to make what to share or that. So I'll quickly go through a couple of slides, not more than, and I'm sensitive to time. I think we are coming to the closure of this session. So, we are seeing what is website, all the theoretical aspect of website, what is the purpose, what should be the technological considerations, and then we've gone into the tools, which tools we can use it, depends upon the nature of the site or business that you want to do. You can use different types of tools. And I think Rahul has walked us through that particular demo, and we can create sites in a flash of minutes, if not seconds with that, right? So I just want to put some wider perspective around when you do all those things, what should be your content management strategy? Your website is all about content, and we want somebody to consume the content over there, right? So quick view around it. You should always be mindful of user or customer experience. 2 points on it: on demand, whether you want to have on demand can be whenever you want it, 24/7, or on demand could be content changes based on the viewer's needs. So different types of topics, different types of presentation views, or on demand is whenever viewer wants to see the content should be available. The second point is on multi-device. I think as Rahul demoed, in today's world, you can't just create a website which is targeted to, let's say, laptops or shown on personal computers. Nowadays, people are on the move. They would like to consume the content when they are traveling to office, on their smartphones. Some people really want to carry their tablets and use and consume content on the tablet. So we have to create a website which can be rendered properly on these 3 or multiple devices or there. Right? It can go as complex as, like, let's say, a smartphone. It can be 2-inch to 5-inch to 6-inch screen. So your content might get displayed in a different mode, different fashion, or it's based on the screen size. So whenever you are designing the site, you are taking help of any IT engineer who might have to be mindful to ensure that the content has been displayed properly. The second one is around design and interface. So again, static or intuitive, you can define how you want to have that interfaces. Third one is information architecture, right? How that information would be stored and displayed. So sometimes you would have asynchronous information provided, whereas you can create a content, upload it, and leave it for people to consume on their own needs and times. Sometimes it's a synchronous information, just as we are demonstrating the website presentation and you guys are consuming, it's a synchronous. So viewer and presenter are in the same session or there, right? Then, sorry, I think we have to go back to the previous slide. Yeah, content strategy, copywriting and structure. Nowadays, we have to be very mindful of copyrights, digital rights, kind of legal aspect of content. So if you are referencing to somebody else's content, and even if you are producing your own content, you might want to have proper copyrights on it, so people are not taking undue advantage of it. Then we talk about development. I think probably we touch base on it. So what technology you are going to use, what type of hosting that you want to have it. In the past days, you had a dedicated data centers where you can store content. Nowadays, you can store on cloud storage. The next one is also one of the critical bits is search engine optimization. Whenever your websites are in a public domain, people do search for specific content. So if I search for strength of material study or topics, you probably, if your website has that topic, your website should filter into the search engine like Google, right? So website has a technical capability called search engine optimization. You might want to be mindful of that and then create proper strategy around that so that your site gets proper visibility when somebody is searching for sites or content on the internet. Last but not the least is monetization. Now, there could be different purposes of creating those websites. Some websites are for charity purposes, information purposes. Sometimes people would like to create revenue out of it. So you might want to design and understand and define what should be the monetization strategy for your website. It could be free. Sometimes you might have one-time pay. You just pay for once and you can be a member of that particular site and they can consume content for lifetime. Sometimes it's a subscription base where you can pay or the viewer can pay for a particular subscription for that. So that's, I think, the core nuances around content management strategy a person should be mindful of when somebody is designing the website. Rahul, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, it is just a hygiene slide, just to be aware of it, do's and don'ts. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll walk us through it quickly. Do's, when you are trying to design a website, so effectively design web pages, you should always ensure that there's easy navigation, clear content, not too much of technical jargons, complex. People can lose contact and interest in your content, so it should be always easy to digest. Format consistency, the fonts, color schemes should be consistent so people have the consistent experience. The content should be relevant to the target audience. Same again, clear headings, topic summary. Review copyrights on content, so you should not get into unnecessary disputes over there. Then link out to the other relevant websites if it is required. Encourage feedback from a target audience. Emphasis on site security. Nowadays, there are a lot of security attacks happen. Hackers do come into and they hack into their websites and try to nullify the content or post some unwanted messages. So you might want to also have emphasis on your site security. Mobile-friendly design, as we discussed, like the short demo, your website should be renderable onto the multiple devices. and keep updating the content. I think I've been driving that point quite a lot. Some of those don'ts, sorry for the typo, the first one, but inconsistent and unreadable color theme. They should not have multiple colors coming and zazzing around. Sometimes people can put off with that particular theme. Inconsistent fonts, multiple languages. You might want to think about what kind of language, which language you want to target. If it's English, it's English. Within English, you have multiple variants, English UK, English US, and so on and so forth. Or in Indian language, you have multiple regional languages, so you have to understand if you're target the content in that particular language, so you can have localization aspects defined. But then text-heavy pages. I mean, too much of content like a newspaper you probably would not like to see, because on digital form, your attention to span is limited. When you are reading the newspaper on paper, it's different than reading the same paper on digital surface is different. So your attention span is quite reduced over there. Right? Too many hyperlinks on graphics, not a good idea because it can get broken. Large size graphic files. If you have heavy graphics on your pages, when somebody is trying to use on mobile phone, the mobile connectivity is poor, the page will not render properly, you will not see the images, and the user experience will get damaged over there. A couple of few inappropriate external references. Ensure that you are targeting your references to the proper websites. Autoplay videos. They can take more bandwidth. One of the classic examples is Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you go on. If there are videos, they will start playing automatically. Let's say you are in a very situation, or in a situation where you should not be playing any videos, and if you're on that side, suddenly it will start playing, and then there will be an unwanted experience. So you should not have those autoplay videos. Build different sites for mobile and web. If you do that one, you have to maintain. So maintenance cost can go up. So some of these are do's and don'ts. I think that concludes our attempt to really provide you over your own website, what it is, how it is, a quick demo, and some hygiene material. So that concludes our presentation. Thanks for listening to us patiently. And we can open up to the questions if there are any. I think we have, I'm suspecting the time, right? So it was 19 minutes past 11. So we have close to 21 minutes that we have in hand over there. Yeah.
Hello, Deshmukh sir.
Hello. Okay, those who have questions, they can put their questions in chat box. So, hello.
I think there is. I'm looking at a chat. This thing. There is one question about the security of WordPress. So it's up to you. I think it depends on what content you want to secure. So there are plugins available. So, but what happens is WordPress has two kind of options. It's WordPress.com and WordPress.org. There are two different websites. The difference is WordPress.com is what happens is you get like a kind of 3 GB up to 3 GB of content free, and you don't get option of having your own domain name. The domain name will be like rahul.wordpress.com. But whereas the WordPress.org, you basically install the software on and you build a website, and you have to register for domain with, say, hosting company. And with that, basically you can have plugins to secure your website. I think there's one question.
Sir.
Difference between.
Okay, some questions. Can we take in a few questions?
Yeah. Actually, I was just answering one question about secure website.
Okay.
I was reading a chat. So there was another question, difference between HTTP and HTTPS. The difference is typically the public website, or if your content you don't want to secure, or there's no harm, then it's like it indicates whether the site is secure or not. If it is empty HTTPS, it's basically the content and the communication between from the site is secure or encrypted. Okay.
It's okay. There is one Somnath Thigade is Professor Somnath Thigade. So I'll mute you. You can ask your question. Yes, Somnath sir, Dr. Somnath.
Audible?
Yes, you are audible.
It's where you have demonstrated.
Yes.
Only my question is regarding security, sir. Is it secure?
Yeah, you can secure, as I said, like there are plugins available. Like if let's say you are building using a Google site, then you can make that content or the site